Sawadee Krap from Thailand. Today I'll show you the total workflow of the DRYLL ads I made. We take a look at their homepage. DRYLL is a German company. They sell high-performance sports drinks with the main ingredient salt. So in the ads that I made, I wanted to highlight the medium salt. So this was the main focus of my ads. So we take a quick look at the first ad. So my intention with this ad was I wanted to create a full campaign for DRYLL, like showing the athletes and their animal pendants. So for example, in this ad we have the powerful sprinter, and the animal pendant would be the leopard, a fast hunter. We could do this with a strongman and an elephant, or a bodybuilder with a gorilla and an ice figure skater with a swan, for example. So we could really build up from this ad. Important was for me to show a really fast cut ad, and in this ad I wanted to show the DRYLL logo made out of salt crystals. So the cubistic salt crystals are transparent, and that the DRYLL logo does not lose its shape. This is kind of tricky, but with the right prompting I got it. Now we take a look at the second ad. It's not so fast cut, but I wanted to have a deeper meaning in this ad as well.
Your body needs salt. Give it back. DRYLL.
So with this ad I wanted to catch up the blurry focus. They use this a lot in their ads, and I wanted to show this female trail runner running in the really hot salt desert to show again the connection to the salt in the drink. So in this case my hook was a total audio and video cut and show like the empty battery logo of the phone. So to connect the low battery mode with the low energy mode of the trail runner, I made her slow down, made a text layer and a voiceover, "Your body needs salt." And to make this stronger, I added a tinnitus sound effect and a crow sound effect in the background. So the most important thing for me was to use Midjourney for the hero shots, because I still think Midjourney has a lot of potential when it comes to hero shots. I prompted a front shot and a side shot. So when I prompt my hero shots, I always do it the same way. I use LLM. So in this case, I used Claude and ChatGPT. I close my eyes and I really talk a lot with WhisperFlow. I use WhisperFlow. So I explain the LLM how everything has to look, the background color scheme, how the light has to look, how in this case the fog and smoke has to look, how the muscles look, how the animal look, how the fur of the animal look, what body posture they have, just everything I can imagine. I speak it to the LLM, and then I make a really long prompt out of it. Some image generators are good for long prompts, and some image generators cannot work so good with long prompts. Then I hopped over to Google Nano Banana Pro. So the next step was in Google Nano Banana Pro, I erased the animal and the athlete out of the picture. Then it came to the DRYLL logo. So this was kind of tricky, because you see these were the images I got, and I was not happy. It looks just plastic and comic, and I didn't want a comic look. I wanted to have a realistic look. I didn't want to lose the shape of the logo. The solution of this was, you can see here the process. It got better and got better with mini steps. And the solution for this was just prompting. Sometimes it's just a tiny word and then you get what you want. Then it came to the salt crystals, and in Google Nano Banana Pro I used a reference picture of salt crystals to get the perfect shape I wanted. For the video transitions I had to create different pictures of the salt crystals. Sometimes they are in small parts and sometimes they are really close together with lightnings around them. So this was the final picture I was happy with, because as you can see, we have the transparent, realistic look of the salt crystals and they form the DRYLL logo. But the DRYLL logo is still readable and the viewer can associate this picture with the original logo. Same with the female trail runner. I wanted to have the DRYLL logo on her cap, and for the realistic look I wanted to have it stitched in the cap. So I had to prompt fit the logo to the rest of the picture. I wanted to have a little bit blurry look, and that's why I used the word stitched, because when the image generator stitches the logo, it looks a little bit blurry and not so plastic. So for the next step, I used the big cheat code. Everybody loves it. It's shots in Higgsfield. So as you can see here, we have a product placement in the video. I used this flask, they call it flask, for the drinking scene. So sometimes the product placements are really tricky because of the sizement of the product, or the small letters get blurry. But in this case, I had no problems. I think it was the first shot, was perfect. Perfect size, I didn't have to rework anything, because normally you have to rework it manually in Photoshop, for example. So then I moved over to Kling 2.5, and Kling is really good for sporty footage, B-roll scenes with no talking. When I see the pictures, I have an imagination what I want the camera to do. So in this case, this shot was really perfect to place the product. She takes a big sip of the bottle, let it down, and then the camera orbits to her back to then continue the run. So when I had the raw footage, I hopped over for the editing to DaVinci Resolve. I edit everything in Resolve. So in this video I had to use a lot of speed ramping because of the slow movement of the salt crystals. The first thing I did to make the visuals perfect with any sound at all. And you can see here I animated the text layers in black and white and had really fast cuts because I wanted to have kind of pop effect that I can add later a sound effect to it. When I finished this, then a really big part of all the process came up, and this was all the audio. The music track, this was the first thing I did. I wanted to have the perfect music track for it. You can see here I have a lot of layers in the sound effects section. I wanted to have a lot of sound effects that it gets some action in it, but I didn't want to make too much. I wanted to add the electric vibe in it. And with the turnings, I added some whooshes and some electricity sound effects. I added some booms, steps, gravel steps, so everything you can find online or on Artlist. At some point you get a feeling where you can add something and where it's too much. So let's see the second video. So the same process with this video. I added the visuals into DaVinci Resolve, and the first thing I did was the video freeze and the audio cut. After this, again, I worked with speed ramping, not so much like in the other video, but I used it on some parts of the video. And then I hopped over to Artlist to choose a soundtrack for the video. In this case, I think the soundtrack fits very well into the video. And after I finished this, I chose all the sound effects. As I said before, we have the empty battery, crow and tinnitus sound effect, then some whooshes, some downers. So in this video we have a little bit more storytelling. We don't have this really fast cuts and so much action in the video. It's not cinematic, but it's a little bit calmer than the other video. Then I hopped to 11 Labs. I wanted that she talks neutral. And this is good in 11 Labs because you can add the mood of the voice. Yeah, and this was the whole workflow of these 2 videos. If you want to deep dive more into how to create these AI ads, just send me a DM. I will send you an invitation link for our community. There you can talk to the leading creators in the AI space. Thank you for watching my long video. We see us the next time. Until then, Sawadee krap.